not any further ado, let's get to the first story, and it's going to be a spoilers conversation here, guys, and it's going to be this Peacemaker story. So just to let everybody know what's going on, Peacemaker episode 7. Where is it? We'll see if we can even do it here. Luke made one of these a while. Is it still here? Yes, it is. There it is. Boom. How about that? Perfect. So Peacemaker episode 7, the preview. Oh, that's the preview of it. Where's the 6? Here it is. This is the one. Peacemaker episode 6 includes the huge DCU cameo as dark truth about the alternate reality is revealed. Yeah, and people were like, well, are you caught up? And my answer is no. But I also realize that I'm not going to, this is a big comic book story, so I'm going to get spoiled, and it's fine. Tonight's episode of Peacemaker Season 2 finally revealed the truth about the alternate reality, and it's even darker than imagined. We also get a big DCO cameo, likely setting up Man of Tomorrow. The latest episode of Peacemaker, titled Ignorance is Kris, opens with Kris enjoying his new life in the alternate reality. Meanwhile, in the DCU, Amelia Harcourt, Leota Adebayo, John Economos, and Vigilante show out how to use the QUC to hop between dimensions. As they explore Chris's family home, Rick Flag Sr. decides that he's heading to Belle Reve to speak with a prisoner who can potentially help him find Peacemaker. Amelia travels to Argus with Keith. However, she ends up being detained because they use interdimensional portal where she was dusted by a stash of cocaine Vigilante had seized from criminals. Rick meets with Lex Luthor, who is now using a cane after his run-in with Crypto. He's been in prison for 265 years and is despondent with being surrounded by metahumans. The Argus boss can transfer him to more comfortable surroundings, but only in exchange for Lex's help in finding Peacemaker in his portal. Rick can't and won't give Lex his freedom, but he can give the villain an opportunity for redemption. They're partners now, because again, that sets up this whole mission that they talked about for the new movie. Kris finds Amelia in his new reality, and confrontation follows. They talk about having a thing with Rick Flag Jr., and he confesses his love for her. She seems unable to reciprocate, and Peacemaker is reluctant to come home. Vigilante tracks down his counterpart and learns that he's Peacemaker's enemy and a member of the Sons of Liberty. As Leota takes a walk, she gets some strange looks, and when Keith sees her, he screams, "One got out of black." Right? We kind of assumed that was going to be happening because we saw this in the previous episodes. There were just white people running around all over the place. At Amelia's urging, Kris takes a look at the U.S. flag and sees the stars have been replaced by a Nazi symbol. John is captured by Peacemaker's father, who learned the truth about his son from him. His U.S. World's Harcourt demands that her double be arrested. Leota runs for her life from a bloodthirsty mob on a world now confirmed to be ruled by the Nazis. Welcome to Earth. Peacemaker Season 2. So I'm assuming that you guys both had seen this episode. Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. First, we'll start with you. Is this as good as it sounds as far as the breakdown, or was it just okay?
This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. Look, I'm having a rough football season. I had a good week, too. The Giants played really, really tough against the Cowboys. It just wasn't my week. But I'll tell you what was. My highlights from PrizePicks. It's so simple. It's so easy to play the game. And you just take some of your favorite players and you can, it doesn't matter. Look, I'll give you an example. You use Barkley, Burrow, Allen, any of them. And Barkley's going to have more or less than one rushing TD. Burrow is going to have more or less than 2.5 passing touchdowns. Allen is going to have more or less than 270 passing yards. It's simple to play. PrizePicks, it's really easy. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks puts their users first. All withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the app today and use that code Kristian to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Kristian to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.
I thought this was a great episode personally. I know so many of us saw these twists and turns coming. And everyone, last week, Winston and I tried to be like, we think it's a planet with a letter in it or something, trying to be as ambiguous as possible. But it was a really great character study episode, I feel, too. We see why Kris wants to stay here. We see how Harcourt really is struggling with how she feels and how she doesn't want other people to feel about her because she feels so broken. It's really, really well done. And I do have to say, just because we had the comic book link and everything, and another review was that this season is quote unquote inconsequential. I feel like this season has been such a great, again, character study of these folks. We had season 1, which was very plot driven, giving us a intergalactic threat coming to our planet. But this one is just a very nice close to home situation that I think gives the characters a lot of room to explore themselves, give them more depth. I think the kind of B plot we have going on too with Rick Flag and then bringing in our really awesome cameo here with Lex. It's a lot of cool stuff that I don't understand why people feel that this hasn't been particularly exciting. I found this to be a really, really great season, personally.
Where are you at with Winston?
I was going to say, Kris, just to answer your question, I think the reason why is just people are so used to, especially if everything is supposed to be connected one way or the other. They're like, well, how is this moving the plot forward? Well, okay, fine. Your plot moving forward for the DCU is that Lex looks to be having some sort of out now. And so now while this isn't a direct setup for Man of Tomorrow, it gives an avenue as to how we start to move in that direction one way or the other. But I agree with you. I think that what this season was an incredible character study. I think it was world building because now we kind of get to see we're already taking a peek into an alternate Earth without going full blown like multiverse of madness type, ish one way or the other. We're kind of almost setting it up for, hey, maybe we shouldn't go to other Earths is kind of like the ultimate thing. So I think we are going to be aware of the multiverse, but we're going to be like, let's not do that again. And it'll only happen when you absolutely need to. But I think beyond all of that, again, you're setting up a lot of lore. You're setting up, plenty of relevancy to these characters and how they will fit into the greater scheme of things. Because I think beyond everything, we're still in the beginning. This is still the beginning of the DCU. So there is a decent amount of setup or act 1 of this universe that we got to get through. And so I think that this was exactly right. This is setting up how these characters ultimately fit.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's about the necessary. I mean, I can tell you for me, like, and I mentioned this a few times over the course of the last week, is that when Peacemaker season 1 came out, I couldn't miss it. Like, it was like, okay, episode 1 is out, 1's 2 out. Okay, I'll be there. I'm ready to watch it. This one, I liked what I've seen so far, but I'm like, I haven't been rushing back to watch it. Like, and it's not that I don't think that, I mean, there's some things that, like the bits and everything too, it's a little over, like, okay, the last episode I actually watched, I really liked a lot. It was the 3rd one when he's jumping through the windows. And then I keep telling myself, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch. And I started watching. I'm like, okay, I'm having fun. Then I go, oh, I'm watching a documentary instead. I'm watching anything too. And I think that the DCU right now, and the reason why, even like Superman, I believe that even the Superman, the way that it was shot today or this year, the way that it was put out, if that movie comes out in 2018, I think it makes $1 billion. The same way nothing changed anything about it, I think it makes $1 billion. I think that the DCU is in an unfortunate place right now of where we are in general with, with comic book movies and everything too. I think that people are like, it's really got to be something extraordinary in order for, and I'm not talking about the hardcore people watching this show. You're going to watch it. You guys are going to watch it. Right. I'm talking about like the fans that were, everybody was watching all of the major comic book stuff, no matter what it was, because it was like the thing to watch. That magic has gone away in the same way that Westerns were like a huge thing during, the 60s and everything too. And it's still, it's where the Westerns had a really big lull. Comic book movies are not there. They're still popular, just not at that same level. And so when I'm not like, this sounds interesting, right? It sounds like, okay, cool. but I'm like, even with the cameo, like there was no world in 2018. I would be like, you know what, guys, let's talk about it up top. I can get spoiled. I'm like, no, I want to watch it first. I'm like, yeah, I can get spoiled. I'll watch it. It's fine. And then, you know, there's some things that I'm really looking forward to. There's other ones that I'm still going to catch up with this. I'm still going to catch up and see where it goes overall. But I don't know. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it at the moment.
I totally understand that. The funny thing is, I was gonna say I do feel like at least this block that we're getting right now, we're in spoiled territory, like getting spoiled, because Gen V season 2 is fantastic so far. So between both this and Peacemaker, like I last night when I was sitting down to start watching these, I was like, all right, baby, I'll see you in like 2 or 3 hours. She goes, wait, what? Did you just get back from a screening? I said, yeah, but now I got to watch Gen V and Peacemaker, and I got to finish Marvel Zombies. So I gotta go. And she's like, okay, see you never, I guess. So like we are, both of them are very, very good.
Yeah.
But I understand, because of the fatigue that you're talking about. People are like, I'll get to it eventually. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's what it is. It's I'll get to it eventually. It's not like I'm out. I'll get to it eventually. Like, and I feel the same way about like Star Wars. I haven't even watched Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, and I don't think I will. I'll see the movie, but I'm like, again, I couldn't even imagine 10 years ago not saying, "Oh my god, I gotta watch the trailer. I gotta do an in-depth breakdown of it and what's happening in the trailer." I'm like, I missed it. You know, people are like, what do you think of the trailer? I'm like, didn't see it. You gonna watch it? No, probably not. I'll wait until I see the movie. I'll see the movie, and I'm going to finish Peacemaker for sure. But I also think it's because of the season that we're in too. Like, I'm really hyped up for a lot of these like Oscar movies. I want to see a lot of these things that are coming in. So where we are right now is, and last night I was going to start finishing episode, I think 4 of Peacemaker, because like I said, I want to finish the thing. But jumping back over, Chris, I think the Lex Luthor of it all, right? Did it make sense?
Moving us forward, yeah.
Yeah. Did it make sense to have it in there?
It does, although this brings up some interesting questions, because it shows that Rick Flag Sr. isn't as rah-rah, do things by the book as he claims to be. He's not doing it for America, because why would you go to Lex? You could go to Mr. Terrific, who is every bit as capable of figuring things out about technology, if not more so. So there's already a bit of this like underhandedness that you see here, which we've seen throughout the season already too, of Rick going, no, I'm doing this to throw off Peacemaker. I'm doing this because this is what the world needs. It's not for me or my own revenge plot. So we're seeing all of that really unfurl. It moves us forward with the whole idea of Lex getting his out, teaming up potentially with Superman in our Man of Tomorrow film. It makes a lot of sense. And it was fun to see Lex have a little R-rated moment. You know, I'm still trying to figure out who those characters are. One, I think Killer Croc, but who's the glowy guy? Not Dr. Phosphor.
No, I thought that would have been, I mean, it could have been, because remember the Creature Commandos are in Bel Rev.
Yeah, but I feel like that there's some safety protocols there.
Which is fair. So if not Dr. Phosphorus, I mean, then Atomic Skull, that would have been one or the other. Those are the only ones that stick out in my mind, unless they somehow have a Sinestro in there, but they would take his ring from him. But I loved seeing R-rated Lex, but it kind of pissed me off though, because this felt like a full Lex. So I was like, and then I got to go back to PG-13 version of him. That was the only thing that I didn't love, is I wanted to be able to see this version of him a little bit more than just the kind of one-off sort of scenario. I feel like Lex cursing at people sounds like exactly what he would potentially do when he gets flustered. But I thought the cameo was really good. Again, another good setup. But also Rick Flag, I think this is a consequence, and this is where watching everything helps. I think this behavior came out because of Creature Commandos. After everything that went sideways with Waller and everything else, now he's more than willing to cross the line, especially because avenging his son is behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then the other side of it, what they were saying, you know, from what happens, I mean, we were there. I saw many people that were kind of predicting that this was that kind of world that they were going to, because as I said, you know, in a lot of these, everybody's noticing there's just white people running around the place, and we knew what his dad was. You know, it's like, oh wait a minute, his dad's such a good guy now. It's like, no, his dad's not a good guy. His dad still sucks, but he just got his way in this version. So that, and I that's the thing I always liked about this show, is that it'll go into that kind of dark place, and the way that like Sliders went into that place too. Remember that show Sliders back in the day, and it would go into like, what if we lost World War II? You know, what's the world like today in that scenario? And always exploring that kind of history is always interesting. But as you said, Winston, it's always like, maybe we shouldn't be exploring these things. But I got to ask the audience, you know, what'd you guys think about Peacemaker this episode? You like it? You not like it? You think it works out? Put your thoughts in there. Let us know.